many of you know what the Cajun Trinity is? I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's onion, bell pepper, and celery. I just chopped up 2 onions, 2 large onions. Doesn't matter if they're white or yellow. I think these are Spanish onions. And then from there, 1 full large bell pepper, big as you can find. And if you can't find the large one, then just get 2 of the mediums. And 2 stalks of celery to full length. Then I took a whole head of garlic and removed all the skins off of each clove. Now I, for one, do not like liver, but Boudin is not Boudin without it, and you cannot taste it once everything comes together. And the original calls for pork liver, and that's what I got. I'm putting 1 pound of pork liver to 10 pounds of meat. You can put more liver if you like that. I see some people put 2 pounds to 5 pounds of meat, so it's really your preference. So what you got here is roughly 10 pounds of pork butt. Pork butt has got the right amount of fat, the right amount of meat ratio naturally built into it. So Derek's going to take this Best Stop Cajun seasoning here, and I guess you need to glove up first.
I do need to glove up.
All right. So nothing real heavy on the seasoning yet. It's going to get seasoning a couple of more times. So go ahead and show them what you're going to do there.
We're just going to put a very light layer of Cajun seasoning on here. We're not going to go extremely heavy with it, if we were smoking a pork butt.
Exactly. Oh, speaking of these gloves, I've had a lot of people, like on Facebook and all, asking people what is a good glove that holds up, heavy duty, that doesn't rip on you. Well, I've run across these. This is CleanSpaceProject.com. These are 5.5 millimeter. They're heavy duty, and just check this out. My problem with these gloves in the past is finding a really good one, and I'd be putting them on and I'd always have them rip. Man, look at the stretch on these. So if you're looking for some good nitrile gloves, it will be in the description box. Now what we're doing, we're going fat side down on these pork butts. I'm gonna have to do one at a time because this Dutch oven is only gonna hold one at a time. And all I'm looking for is building up a crust and getting that fat to render out some. That's really going to add another element to this Boudin just by doing this. Got those removed. We're going in with the Cajun Trinity plus these livers I was telling you about. Just gonna pour these right in. Now I'm not gonna add any seasoning to this yet. They're actually gonna pick up a little bit off the bottom of this Dutch oven from that pork butt. So for all you people that's never had real deal Louisiana style Boudin, or Louisiana Boudin, period, ain't no style to it, this is the real deal. You can find any of this stuff easily. Now you might have a problem finding the pork liver. If you can't find it, use chicken liver instead, same amount. That's 1 pound of liver to 10 pounds of meat. Now the next step, we're gonna take everything you've seen up to now and we're gonna put it in a pot. We're gonna boil it until that meat is just fall apart, shredding tender. It's one reason I left the bone in that pork butt, because it's just gonna pull right out at the end of this. And I wanna thank Concord for providing this pot. This is a 24 quart stainless steel, and it's not lightweight. This is a heavy gauge stainless steel. It's high polished. And the beauty of this, not only does it come with a basket, which is also, it's really hefty, heavy gauge. Not only that, but as you can see the bottom, it stands off the bottom 1.5 inches, where you could use this to steam like a small seafood, steaming seafood or whatnot, steaming vegetables, whatever you want to do. You could do tamales in this, you name it. But what I like about it is it's a perfect pot to pull this off. There's a discount code for this pot, 15% off on this same pot. But go over there and check Concord out, because not only do they have a variety of cookware, they have outdoor burners, they have all kind of things that you would probably be interested in if you're like an outdoor cooking, and I'm sure you do, otherwise you probably wouldn't be watching this video. So thank you, Concord, again. So very simple, we're gonna take both these pork butts and we're just gonna put them in the bottom. 10 pounds when it's all said and done. In with the other pork butt. Now we're gonna take all this Cajun Trinity and liver. We're gonna put it in here. And by the way, the last pot I used did not have a strainer, so I had to sit there and remove everything, vegetables and all, without a strainer. This is gonna make life so much easier. All right, Derek, take that water, and what we wanna do is just pour water in this until we're an inch or so, a couple inches above the pork. Getting close, gonna need more. The amount of water is gonna be based really on the size of your pot. There we go, perfect. That's good enough right there. All right, I'm gonna go in with another ½ cup of this Best Stop Cajun Seasoning. Just gonna throw that in there. Now I've got this idea from the actual ingredients label on the Best Stop Boudin, and all this is like a Kitchen Bouquet. There's some other brands. It's a caramel water. It does have other spices in that. Adds a really good flavor, but more than anything, it gives it that darker color. So that's 4 ounces of that going in. Got about 2 ounces of this one going in. Oh yeah, look at that dark color. All right, that is it. We're gonna put the lid on it. I'm gonna have Derek light this thing off. We're gonna get it up to a full boil, then reduce it down to a simmer. And I'll be back in about 3, maybe 4 hours, however long it takes to get this thing completely broke down. It's been about 3 hours and 10 minutes since you seen me last. Let's take a look at it. Now I have been peeking in here and just looking every now and then. And what I've done is I took and kind of broke all this meat up to see how tender it is. Then I'm gonna grab this strainer. Hey Derek, can you hand me that spider? All I want to do with this spider is just reach in here and get anything worth anything that might have went through those holes on that strainer. I don't really see anything. Maybe a few veggies there. So I've got the grinder set up, and all I'm going to do is grind this one time through a 3/16 plate. And this is one of the few sausages that you'll ever do where you don't have to worry about having everything ice cold, because this stuff is hot going in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the grinding here. We're gonna go ahead and load this hopper up. Derek, if you'll flip that on switch. Here we go. Got it all ground up. Let's add these other ingredients. I've got 1 bunch of green onions, which should be just about right for this amount of meat. You could always go in with a little less, a little more, and that's true with anything in this recipe, really. This recipe that I wrote calls for 1 cup total of this Best Stop Cajun Seasoning. I've already used 4 ounces into the liquid, okay? Now, that only left 3 ounces because this is 7 ounces. So I've got another one here, and I'm just gonna take 1 ounce from that. I'm gonna go ahead and dump this one all in here. Just put it all over your meat. That should be good. And a little bit more. Now this rice, we didn't add no salt to the water, so this is going to be seasoning the rice as well. That looks like plenty of seasoning. Now, let's kick things up a little bit. I've got some cayenne pepper. This is optional, but this is gonna have a little bit of a Cajun kick, and that's how you get it, is through this cayenne. I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon. Now for all of you MSG phobes out there, go ahead and shut your eyes and shut your ears, because this boudin is getting MSG. That's right, I've weighed out 11.5 grams of MSG for this amount of meat, the amount of everything you see here. I've calculated that I need this much MSG that's really going to enhance these flavors. If you don't want to use MSG, don't use it. You ain't got to use it. But if you really want these flavors to pop, then use it. And me personally, I think MSG has gotten a bum rap. We're not here to talk about or debate that. And so we'll save that for another time, but I am using it in fact. Now the last ingredient, let me look around and make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, the last ingredient is rice. And that too, some people go 50-50. They put as much rice as what they got meat. I personally like more meat, less rice. I just want to see some rice in it. So I've got roughly 4 cups of cooked rice. We're just gonna dump this in. I've taken some of this stock that we've actually boiled this in, that come out of the big pot. And you gotta be careful with this. You don't wanna overdo it. I'm gonna hold with that right there for a moment. Get all that good and mixed in. And also that broth has got all that flavor in it. Actually, it's not gonna hurt my feelings if it's a little on the wet side. I just don't want a mushy mess here. Let's just pour it all in there. I think we'll be all right. Now I didn't measure that. It's something you gotta eyeball. That's all there is to it. You just gotta simply eyeball that. Get it as moist as you want it. That's starting to feel pretty good. This is an 11-pound stuffer I got, so I should be able to get all of this in this one cylinder here. And that's all we're gonna do is just drop it in here. I will pack it down like I do any other sausage just to make sure it's not getting a lot of air bubbles in it. Well, look at there. It's right there at the top of it, right there. So let's go back on with this thing. Now I want to go ahead and crank some of this out until it comes right here at the end to get all the air out of this tube here. I like to take a couple of fingers and dip them in this water. You can see that water working its way down. It'll help straighten out your casing, but it also flushes some of that salt out of the middle of it. If you never made sausage, this right here will come to you. Just takes a little bit of practice. Derek, can you hand me that prick that's inside of that box all this is in?
Well, your definition of a prick and mine are two different things.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of this case. It's the same thing over and over until all this cylinder is gone.
When you're sitting there stuffing your casings, whether this is sausage or boudin, when you're sitting there turning counterclockwise, when you're ready to stop, back off on it a couple turns and it will stop whatever you got in there coming out the tube as well.
Right, that way it just don't keep coming.
Right.
Got them all stuffed. You're looking at approximately 11 pounds of this boudin. So take you a sausage prick and all you do is just run down here and hit them good. All that does is relieve any air pockets that may or may not be up under the casing. You'll end up with a better product at the end if you take the time to do this. All right, we just got her loaded. 3 racks. You can't really see all the sausage in there, but we're gonna put that to sleep for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow morning to fire up the PK 100 and get some smoke on these bad boys. All right, we have went overnight. It's Saturday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't even had coffee yet, but I'm gonna tend to the sausage first. We already got the PK 100 up to temperature 225 degrees from start to finish. If you watched any of my sausage videos in the past, you know I start off real low and I do a cold smoke all the way through the process. This is different. Fully cooked sausage, all we're wanting to do is smoke it. It'd be similar to putting it on your offset smoke or something like that. I'm gonna open our PK up. Going to use in the very top. Go ahead and slide that one towards the back. Let me get another one. All right, now we got a half a pan of hickory. This is hickory sawdust, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, but it's got water in it. It's completely saturated. It's not a lot of water, just enough to get it completely wet. You don't want to put this stuff in dry. It will light on fire. Ask me how I know. So let's add in some more water. I'll take a look at those in about an hour and a half, see what they're looking like, but I predict we're gonna go somewhere around 2 to 3 hours to get the color I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the casing from these and get the fillings out, and we're going to make some boudin balls, and we're going to make some egg rolls, boudin egg rolls, just like that. All right, we're just going to take some of this boudin, make it like a little patty here, take us a chunk of this pepper jack cheese, take us some more boudin over the top of that. Want it to come together just like that. Still a lot of moisture. Now you can certainly do these before you smoke them. Actually, I recommend you to do that before you smoke. Go ahead and make boudin balls if that's what you're going to do, because just the smoking process can make this a little bit more drier than what it was, what I showed you last night. But that's fine right there. I think we're going to be good. Let's go ahead and put that in an egg wash into some panko breadcrumbs. That's a big old boudin ball, Papa. All right, now I had to take my gloves off. I've got to handle this egg roll wrap, and I can do it better without gloves on. So we're just gonna put a little filling in here. I used to make these jambalaya rolls years ago. Used to sell them. I actually did a video on that about 8 years ago when my channel was real young. Might have been more like 9 years, 9.5 years ago. And it wasn't but a few years after that I seen people was doing it with boudin, and I had actually thought about that, just never got around to doing it. But the jambalaya rolls, I pretty much own that. Nobody was doing that. Okay, we just want to give that a little roll. We want to tuck this in like this, tuck it in like this, roll it out, get a little bit of egg wash on your finger there. That's just to seal the deal. There we go. Egg roll.
Them things are gonna be good, ain't they?
Yeah, they're gonna be good. Alrighty, we are at 350 degrees. So we're gonna drop these boudin balls in here. Got one going there. One going there. Go in with our egg rolls. I don't want to crowd this to where it drops the temperature so fast, so I'm just gonna hold that for the time being. Now, that's some pretty big boudin balls. I hope it's got time to get hot enough to melt that cheese. I won't know that until we actually bite into it, but it's darkening up mighty fast. All right, ready or not, that was coming out. I don't want to get that no darker. I've got a wire rack over here to my right. I'm just going to strain these out on. There's our other boudin ball. Look at that. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to bring you back here in just a minute, and we're going to do a taste on all three of these. All right, what do you want to start with?
Yeah, I'm going to start over here with this boudin.
All right, you go ahead. I'm going to start with this boudin ball. I just want to see, I bet you it didn't, but I just want to see if there's any chance that cheese melted in the middle. No, it didn't fully melt. Oh, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It's soft. Okay. I mean, it's not oozing, but hey, that ain't bad. Surprising. Wow. The last, I shredded the meat. I didn't grind it. I shredded it. I like that shredded texture a lot. I might even actually like it better than this, but I do like this texture. Flavor-wise, it's on point. One thing left to do, egg rolls. Oh,
right there.
I love that.
That is good right there.
That's one of my favorite ways. It's got that crispy shell, but yet it's a little doughy towards the meat. Meat's nice and moist and got all that boudin flavor popping out of there. Now, something I read on Facebook here a while back, and this is a guy from around the Scott, Louisiana thing. He said they like to take their boudin and they eat this Jack Miller's barbecue sauce with it. It's Jack Miller's the barbecue sauce with a Cajun kick. I'm just gonna pour a little bit here on the table.
That'll work.
Just to try it out. Well, it looks like it could have some Cajun stuff in it. I gotta try that. All right, here we go. Oh man. Ooh boy. That's something different. I've never had this before. That's got a unique flavor to it.
That it does.
It's not like a typical barbecue sauce. I don't know what this thickness is in there, but I like it. You can make boudin regardless of where you live. It's super easy. You don't have to have a grinder or a stuffer. You can do egg roll wraps. If you got a stand-up mixer, use that paddle blade and shred the stuff after it gets extremely tender with all these ingredients and stuff it in an egg roll wrap or a boudin ball. You're eating boudin. You're eating good eats. Till next time, I'm Russ Jones.
I'm Derek Jones.
We are Smoky Ribs Barbecue.